Optimized my bottlenecks, removed redundant pointer checks. The database's sub-selects are indexed to a T. They shaved the microseconds down till there was nothing left to count. I instantaneously found the answer in a breeze. But I've been feeling so alone. Nobody here's called me from a function or a phone. If I'm dead code, let me die.
It's the Monday Morning Show. Today is May 4th, 2015. I'm Ken LaSalle. That's Josh Woodward singing Dead Code. You can find out more about Josh at joshwoodward.com. You can find out more about me at kenlasalle.com. Welcome once again to the business of being a writer. We begin this week at last week, which was suspiciously devoid of an episode. Why was that? Well, to tell you that, I'd have to take you back 2 Fridays ago. But I promise that's as far as our time machine will take us. So, I'm at my desk, researching changes on a freshly edited book, when my web browsers begin crashing. First, it's Internet Explorer. Big surprise. Next, it's Firefox. Then Word crashes. And I think, when was the last time I rebooted? I may need a fresh reboot. So, believing this to be the best course of action, I rebooted my computer. Kind of. As the computer started up, I noticed it lock up on the Windows logo screen. I rebooted again. This time, I get a message that usually asks if I want to start in safe mode, but this time, I'm asked if I want to launch startup repair. And I'd never seen this before. It didn't work, of course, because I had me some deep-fried hard drive. Everything was on it, too. I mean, everything. Everything. I've written so many books and plays that I've actually lost track, but it adds up to something like 24 books and 36 plays. I had actually never considered the possibility of losing it all. The possibility was unthinkable. Fortunately, I had set up a backup drive, which was good because my hard drive was gone. It had set sail upon the high seas of poor data management and was laughing at me as it plunged itself over the edge of the world. Like I said, this is the business of being a writer. As it turned out, my backup drive hadn't backed up since April 1st, leaving nearly a month of work lost to the ether and the whims of magnetism. Was that enough for me to learn my lesson and to finally put a little money into securing my data in the future? You bet your ass it was, because there were more reminders than just some lost data. You ever notice how each new computer you use is just a little bit different? You go through great lengths to set your computer up just the way you like it. You get everything to your liking, and then you hop on another computer, and it's almost like your memory has been wiped, and you're living in a world that just doesn't understand you. That's where I am right now. That's where I was even as I wrote this episode. The settings just aren't quite right, and I wish I had my old computer back. Okay, so I'm actually still on the same PC, everything but the hard drive, but you get the idea. The business of being a writer is about handling your writing as if it was a business. You wouldn't see a business leaving its data to chance. You also wouldn't see a business that doesn't have a good idea what it's doing next week. During the 5 days I spent without a computer, I decided to use my free time to my advantage and work on ideas for new projects. That's one of the more entertaining aspects of being an artist. You grab yourself your favorite cool refreshment, you put your feet up, and in my case, I ask myself, what would entertain me that I don't see out there? My mom once asked me why I didn't write what other people write, and my answer was because, of course, other people were already writing that. Of course, she still thinks that I have problems because my books always go to editors. The thing about coming up with new projects is, no, I don't have problems. Editing is a part of the process. It's not a reflection on my ability as a writer. The thing about coming up with new projects is you want to aim for what's going to be hot when the book comes out in 3 or 4 years or so. If you write what's hot now, you'll end up missing that trend completely. And the best way to aim for what you think is going to be hot is to aim for what you want to see or hear or read that isn't out there. Look for the market that doesn't exist yet. That's what I did with the most amazing book you've ever heard in your entire life, which I hope you'll agree is unlike anything you've heard in an audiobook. Not only is it a lot of fun, but it also answers a lot of questions that don't get asked enough these days. Anyway, I got to spend a few days letting my mind wander, playing games with mental constructs, with ideas. It's a playground that never gets old, which is good because for the past couple of months, most of my work has been quite the opposite of that. I've been working with publishers on what may be the strangest 1-2 punch in publishing history. 2 more of my books are being released this June and July. One is a philosophical memoir about success. The other is a horror novel about sex-crazed zombies. Yes, you heard that right. How does such a strange combo come to take place? Strangely enough, this all started about 8 years ago when I was out of work. I had 2 book ideas in my head. Back then, I didn't plan my writing strategy. Being employed full-time, I just wrote what I could when I could. I sat down with my wife and told her I wanted to write either the zombie book or the memoir. And she was kind enough to tell me to write whatever I liked, rather than focus too much on what I thought people might want to buy. Because that's obvious enough. It's the zombie book. This happened long before The Walking Dead came on television, before zombies were a bit overdone in many people's opinions. More than that, it's a completely new take on the genre. And it's got legs, baby. Even so, I really wanted to write the memoir. At the time, I didn't even know it would be a memoir. You see, I had a question in my head, and I wanted an answer. The question? What is success? There I was, out of a job, driving on a freeway one morning and looking at all those driving around me. I couldn't help wonder if all those people, or any of those people, really knew what success was. Were they simply doing as they were told, as they were brought up to do? Or did they have some idea what success meant? Everybody told me that the answer to my question, what is success, was universally obvious. Everybody knew. And yet, nobody could tell me. They'd say, it's different for everyone. And that's a strange way of looking at a word. It would be like asking, what's a cat? And getting the answer, it's different for everyone. Granted, it is different for everyone. Everyone experiences cats a little differently based on their background. But there's still a definition, right? And then I found out that the definition in the dictionary, the definition of success, was wrong. So I wrote that book and called it Climbing Maya. Then I wrote the zombie novel and called it Worm Food Island. Worm Food Island was picked up by the fine folks at Northern Frights Publishing, but after the Great Recession, they had to close their doors. Bringing that book to publication has been a long and arduous trip, but it finally landed at Vagabondage Press. They're releasing it in July, and so far they've been great to work with. The story behind bringing Climbing Maya to print is even more convoluted. It actually got picked up by a publisher who so misunderstood its message, or maybe they didn't read it, that they published it as a romance novel. It took a while for me to set them straight. Then, it took me a while to get my book back from them. Fortunately, my agent and I landed a great deal with kal-ba Publishing. In addition to the ebook and paperback, we'll be releasing an audiobook version, which I'll begin recording soon. I love being able to bring it to audio, and I think it'll translate well. The folks at kal-ba have a good handle on what it's about. I've even signed another book, A New Way of Looking at Ethics, to come out in the fall. I would never have guessed in my wildest dreams that Climbing Maya and Worm Food Island would come out back to back, or that the next book after Worm Food Island would be a book on ethics. As I said, writing brings me a terrific playground to enjoy, and I'm enjoying every minute. The cool thing for the week? How about my YouTube channel? No kidding, I just posted a couple of trailers for my weirdly cool audiobook, The Most Amazing Book You've Ever Heard in Your Entire Life, and you might just enjoy them. At least, I hope you do. Just type my name, Ken LaSalle, into your YouTube search bar to find my channel. This episode is brought to you by Heaven Enough, now available in ebook and paperback. The Pacific Crest Trail has brought us a terrific memoir and film with Wild, but that's not the only story coming out of the PCT. Heaven Enough is a work of romantic fiction about two lost souls who discover each other on the Pacific Crest Trail just as their lives are coming apart. Look for Heaven Enough on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and wherever you buy books online. And that's the Monday Morning Show for May 4th, 2015. Be sure to check back next week for another episode. Head on down to kenlasalle.com for all the latest. You can find my ebooks, paperbacks, and audiobooks all over, etc., etc., etc. You have yourself a terrific week. Be good to yourself. Be kind to others. Let's make this world a better place.
Nobody here has called me from a function or a phone. If I'm dead, code, let me die. 'Cause I'm only wasting memory alive. If I'm dead, code, wipe the drive. 'Cause I'd rather be a memory than a ghost who's still alive.